So you based here?
Yeah, been living here since 4 years back.
Oh yeah, from where?
I lived in Auckland for a couple of years, and then I'm originally from Sweden.
Is that where you started it?
Yeah, yeah. 8 years ago in Sweden.
8 years ago?
Yeah.
That's nothing.
That's heaps.
Not really.
It's
like
a long
for business.
time.
Oh yeah, it's a long time to run a business, but like
Yeah.
how big you guys are, that was
Yeah.
only 8 years ago.
Yeah.
How did...
Seven years and 1 month. No, 4 months. 1st of May is 8 years. So yeah, 8 years.
Holy heck.
Feels like forever.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Did you start it by yourself or?
No, so I started with my high school friend Tekla.
Okay.
Back in Sweden. Or I was living in Hong Kong and she was living in Sweden, and then we just started.
What made you
So we started now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, so we just want to like boost ourselves to an active lifestyle. And back then, especially in Sweden, you couldn't find any inspiring activewear, especially inspiring brands.
Yeah.
So all we can find were like black tights with a little bit of pink. So
Yeah,
when
right.
we started, we just created these really colorful printed tights. And it just took off.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how quick did it like take off, like grow? Was it from the get-go? Was it just...
Yeah, so we
Crazy.
started off on social media, Instagram,
Yep.
before we even had any products. So we started to, inspire and motivate everyone there. And we
Yep.
showed samples and inspiring photos. And then we asked our followers, like, oh, what kind of prints do you like and colors? And then we just created this hype. And I remember just before we launched, we had this giveaway, and it wasn't that common at that stage. So we just gained heaps of followers, had a lot of entries, and then when we launched 1st of May 2014, we sold out 400 pair of tights within 4.5 hours.
Oh.
And we was like, holy fuck.
How many tights?
400.
In
Yeah.
4.5 hours?
Yeah, and we didn't really expect that, so we thought this kind of stock would last us for months. And we had like orders like from all over the world, like Australia. I think we had like one from New Zealand, and then Germany, and majority in Sweden.
So was this all organic social media?
Yeah, nothing
No
was
pay?
paid. No, I don't
Kidding?
think we started to pay until like 3 years back or something, 4 years back.
really?
I don't even remember.
What like level say like followers on Instagram, what were you at when you started paying? Like what did you reach just organically?
Ooh, me and numbers, I'm not sure, but
yeah.
it was so much easier back then. Everything was organic.
Yeah. It's changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
eh?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks for coming on and jumping on, giving us your time.
Thank you for having me.
Do you know what the podcast is called?
1, 3.
Close. So podcast is called Hustlers,
Okay.
and basically it's about interesting, inspiring people. We get them on, we tell stories, and people that listen either like following our journey that we do, or they like to learn and be inspired by other people. So that's basically what you're here for. You're here to inspire people, no pressure. And the podcast is brought to you by Arepa. We've already talked about Arepa already. So do you actually like drink it often, or?
And my partner Johan, he loves drinking it. So every
Yeah.
time he buys like a big case, and he just have it in the fridge.
Yeah.
And it's like, sweet, nice. And apparently it's good for your brain, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and it tastes delicious.
Yeah. So for me, I use it for my brain first and foremost, and then it's just a bonus that it tastes nice for me. So I guess the science behind it is it's got pine bark extract in it. The thing's called L-theanine. They actually give it to ADHD kids to help them think better and clearer. And so it basically helps your thinking, your clarity in your brain when your brain's stressed or fatigued. So a surgeon going into a big surgery, rather than grabbing an energy drink, they grab one of these. Yeah. And that's to help you think clearer. And you know the All Blacks?
Yes, I do.
Don't know rugby, but surely you know the All Blacks.
Have to if you live in New Zealand,
Exactly. Yeah, nah. So All Blacks are using it, which is in New Zealand, that's pretty massive for someone like them to be using something like this. So anyone that's listening, you can use the promo code 138 online. You get 20% off. We also have another sponsor of this podcast, and his name is Cale Kirk, one of the best real estate agents in the region. But he sends us a little video, so I'm going to play that now, and he can tell you for himself.
The character villa is ready for you to move right in. Welcome home.
Can you remember how quick your followers grew, say, from like, let's say in the first year or something? Do you remember like how quick they went, what they went to?
No.
You don't remember?
No, I don't. No, I can't. Like honestly, if I look back, because we started 8 years ago,
Yeah.
and shitloads have happened. Sorry for saying shitloads.
Nah, that's fine. That's fine. That's better,
Okay,
actually.
I'm
Please
not
swear.
sorry actually. I swear a lot sometimes, but it's like having my periods when I do and do not. But no, I don't remember. I think it was around maybe 50 or 100K. Or was it more? I'm not sure.
In 1 year?
I don't know. Like Carlos, I'm sorry. I do not remember.
That is ridiculous.
Like now we have like a couple of accounts. So we have like one that's global, so it's run from Sweden, and one account that's run from here, New Zealand, towards our New Zealand and Australian market. So I think combined we have around 600K followers.
How does that work, having a global business? Like, it must be so, like, you have offices over in Sweden and stuff as well, I'm guessing?
Yeah, that's correct.
And anywhere else?
We have this team kind of spread out. So we have one in Germany, 2 in China as well.
2 offices in
No,
those
like
places?
people working
Oh,
remotely.
okay.
Yeah, but like we are all about dreams, right? AIMN is all about like empowering people to follow their hearts and dreams in life. So for us, it's so important that everyone are living their dream life as well.
Yeah.
So
What's your main markets? Like, how New Zealand? How did New Zealand
I would
become?
say, so we have like 5 like focus markets. So number 1 is Sweden, and then New Zealand, Australia, Germany, and Norway at the moment.
What? And is that just like randomly come about that it's been those countries, or how did it become those countries? How did it become New Zealand? Like, out of all places in the world, how did Sweden go to New Zealand?
Okay, so it's not really from a business perspective, it doesn't make sense. But for me, it was more about following my dream and moved to New Zealand. And I remember I was like backpacking here when I was like younger. And I came here, and actually we did this road trip on the North Island, to the mount, and we were hiking up on the mount and like sitting on the top, looking out on the ocean and the surface. And before that, I was just fell in love with New Zealand, the culture, the people, the nature. Holy moly, it's so beautiful. And I just got this feeling like, oh, I want to create a life here. So I was really tuning in and was listening like from my heart and my gut feeling. And that feeling like never left me. So, and fast forward a couple of years, I was living in Hong Kong, and Tekla was living in Sweden, and we started to talk about, starting AIMN. And it took off really well. So I moved back to Sweden, spent a couple of months there. But I was like, oh, I really want to move to New Zealand. So I made the move and brought the brand with me. And that's the reason why we have a business in New Zealand.
So did you come straight to the Mount, or?
No, so we...
Oh, sorry, Auckland, right?
Auckland, right, yes, because we thought we wanted to live in... No, we thought we had to, because we had to like create like we came here on a working holiday visa.
Right, okay.
So I was like reading, I was like, oh shit, you can start a business on a working holiday, because usually people come here to like travel and work around. And I was like, oh sweet, we can actually start a business. And then we started, and then we tried to like figure out, oh, do we actually want to live here, and what do we need to do in order to be able to stay? So we went on a really challenging journey to get a work visa.
Yep.
So that was through my partner. So he had to become a authorized financial advisor. And through there, we can continue to stay here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So now I have a permanent residency, and I can stay and live in New Zealand forever.
And you're going to?
I am. This is my base, definitely home base. But I love to travel around as well. And obviously going back to Sweden every now and then.
When was the last time you went back?
Last time I came back to Sweden?
Yeah.
It was a year ago, actually.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I was actually stuck overseas for a year and 2 months before I came back to New Zealand because of the quarantine spaces.
Where'd the name come from?
So AIMN come from the name, the word aim, to constantly strive for something.
Oh yeah.
So
okay,
it's like
yeah.
a slang for aiming.
I'm aiming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're aiming towards something.
Yeah.
You're aiming towards your dream, and you have like something to strive towards.
So did your business partner, is she still involved? Like it's still both of you?
Yeah.
And
both
she
of
live
us.
in Sweden?
She lives in Sweden.
Okay, so I guess she manages everything that's over there.
Yeah, her and her partner, and then obviously we have a big team there. So in total we are around 95 at this stage.
95 in the world?
Yeah.
Or, wow. What's that like? What's that like to, I mean, you started something 8 years ago. Now what that is now responsible for 95 people's lives. You know, like that's how they make their money. That's how they eat. What's that like?
Oh, wow, good questions. I just feel it's just been coming naturally as well as we have been growing, and for us it's all about having aligned people like in the team, and we call our team the AIMN family because we're like really tight, and it's all about like empowering each other in a way.
Yep.
And obviously like we are like a very like vision and mission driven organization.
Yep.
And so it's so important for us to have people who aligns with those values and the same like mission as us.
So what does culture mean to you when it comes to business?
It's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important because everything comes from within, right? And in order to create a positive impact, like our mission is to inspire and motivate women around the world to an active lifestyle, but also like empower them to like believe in self and follow their heart and dreams in life.
Yep.
And everything starts from within. And if you see it from a business perspective, it's so important that the individuals are feeling that empowerment, and then it ripples out.
So it's almost like this whole conversation I've already had with you, I think you've only talked about clothes once. Yeah, I think only once. But you've talked about that about 8 times already.
Yeah, it's the impact, and the clothing where it's a tool for us to actually spread our brand message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That's very interesting. What markets would you want to try and, I guess, hit next? What's the next markets for you guys?
So we recently went into Finland and the Netherlands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we at the moment I think as you know, around 8 localized sites or 9. Yeah.
9 what stores in
Localized sites, it means like with the currency and the language. Like so we have, for example, a website in German, Dutch, yeah.
It's good that you know.
Finland, Finnish.
Dutch, German.
It's like that sometimes when you grow as well. Like in the beginning, you knew everything what happened in the entire organization. I still do, but it's more on a bigger scale. That makes sense.
Do you have like a I don't know, like a CEO or something, like someone who runs that kind of side of things?
Yeah, so we do. So Techlas partner Robin is our CEO at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your biggest, what's the roles you have set up that, I guess would be your core roles, if you know what I mean? Like people there, your CEOs and stuff like that. Do you have many people in those roles?
So we do have a management team. So in that one, we have like a CMO, a CFO, a head of people, a brand director, that's me, a creative director, that's Tekla, and then a operational something manager. Like it's just titles, like honestly, cause it's just titles, and like for us, it's like we have a very like flat organization, like no hierarchy at all. So it's just titles, really.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Are you open about like your turnovers and things like that?
Yeah, if I only knew the exact numbers.
Yeah. You don't know at all?
I do, but it's like a little bit messy in my head because it's like everything is in Swedish crowns when I think about it. So do you have a calculator?
Yeah, I've got one. Hey, what about
so
your first year?
Numbers is not my strength.
Do you remember your first year first? What you turned over in your first year?
I don't remember,
okay.
To be honest. I should. It's in my backhand somewhere, but like money has never been the driving force for me.
Of course.
And I really believe when you create value, it comes back, it flows in.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset we had like the last couple, 8
okay.
years.
No,
yeah. But I will try to figure out where we are at. This is just an estimate. something like that.
In New Zealand dollars?
Yeah. I divided by 6, and it's like the currency kind of.
In Fijian dollars? Holy shit.
But we are like, a global brand, and we're shipping to around 160 countries.
100 and... What's that?
You're so shocked.
116 million something? Wow, that is... Wow. What sort of, like, units do you have to push to get something like that? Like, how many, roughly, do you know how many units you would sell in a year? Not exactly, but, like, you know, is it 1 million units of some sort of year?
I guess it really depends on what kind of article. Like, for example, like tights is our main category, for example. Then the last 2 years, we actually broadened our assortment in a way, and also adding on accessories and things like that. So I have no idea, to be honest. I'm not the number guy for you.
Do you have your own manufacturing lines in there?
We do have not our own lines, but we do work very closely with our factories where we have like a kind of department. Or what do you mean with lines?
Like, I just know that, you know, some really big brands will have like almost their own factory kind of things, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, like Gymshark, they like have their own.
Yeah.
We do not have our own. Like, it depends on the production, I would say. Like, and the quantity. Sometimes they just put the whole like floor. This is like AIMN, for example.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
It really depends.
So you guys make it in various places or one place, or?
So we have a few factories we work closely with. That.
Who would you say your biggest competitors are in your area, like your niche market?
Depends on the market. New Zealand one?
Like New Zealand. Let's go New Zealand.
I would say P Nation, Lululemon, Stella McCartney. What else is there? Yeah.
Do you have any like relationships with any of the owners of any of them? Like, do you know them or?
No. I'm not a big networker, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're just doing our own thing, and like.
You're quite behind the scenes and quite quiet, eh? Like, I can tell.
We haven't really focusing on the PR side and those kind of things, because it's been mostly focusing on adding the value, and also because we didn't really have to.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's been just keeping up, growing, and making sure like the internal is working really well.
Okay. Did you how did you know that you wanted to scale up, say, in terms of employees? Did it just get to a point where you were like, oh, we need help, or? So
what happened was, like, we always dreaming big, right? And we aiming like really, and now we're like
Amen.
And we really want to become a global brand, and the reason for that is because we want to impact as many women as possible. Yep. So that's the drive, and we realize, like, in order to get there, we need to have the right people on board. We need to be able to like reach out to as many people as possible, and we realized we really had to kind of power up a little bit. So 2 years ago we took in some investors, and they were really, like, before that we had some meetings, but they really didn't really felt it was aligned with us and where we were going. And then we had this randomly we got in contact with this investor firm, and we really aligned with them. And also, when you look at investors, it's usually people, middle-aged men in suits. Nothing wrong with that. But this team, they actually had majority women in the team. Okay. And they really understood AIMN as a brand and our vision. And they were also very knowledgeable within the e-com space and digital marketing. Okay. So it's like tick, 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 let's go. And so from there, we actually grew the team from 35 to, today, 95. And we really started to scale at that stage. Are you happy you took on investors? I am, yeah. Is it like, how did you work out? Did you like sell a certain percentage of your company to them? Is that how it works? To take on investors? I guess you negotiate in a way and come up with something that works. And that was pretty much to, I guess, build capital within your business to be able to make bigger moves? Yes. Is that right? Yeah, in order to be able to, grow the team with skilled people, and also scale the marketing in order to, yeah.
Okay. These guys approached you, or did you go and?
Okay, let me think back. So we had a team member. She was living in Dubai, and she was networking. And then she got in contact with someone who knew someone in that firm and kind of connected us. And then from there, and it's like such a funny story actually, because we were like, oh, we don't know if if we want to or not.
Yeah.
We're very happy now. So we were like, wasn't really on it. So it took a couple of months, and we still like didn't like process forward. So it ended up that the director of that investor firm actually flew to New Zealand. So because they already met with Tekla and Robin in Sweden, right?
Yeah.
But like me and my partner had to be on board as well. So we actually flew here, came to the mount, like flew into Auckland, flew to the mount, and I spent 24 hours here and then flew back.
Wow. Just for the meeting?
Yeah. And it ended up, we really liked him.
Yeah.
Like,
were you worried about, like, I don't know, losing power within your brand by bringing on other people? Is it? No?
Obviously,
is
you don't put yourself in a situation where you lose the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because am I right in saying once you bring someone on like that, it's kind of like when you make decisions, it has to be run past everyone?
Yeah, it's kind of a process in that sense, yeah. But it hasn't been too bad. Like, yeah.
And that's
I
probably...
think it's important as well. Like, businesses need structure and needs to act on a more strategic level once you grow.
Do you think that before them, it was not so structured and stuff? Like,
yeah, then it was, then we could take a decision like internally. But now when the bigger decisions needs to be made, it needs to go through like the board in a way.
What do you have like a content strategy that you use?
A content strategy?
Like for social media and stuff?
Yes and no, I would say, yeah. Everything is moving like pretty fast, I would say. And it's all about knowing what works, what doesn't work, and being like close to the followers and the customers and see what they like.
Give an example.
An example. We did like a customer survey, for example, and there we asked what kind of things do you want to see, or why do you choose AIMN, for example. And then they kind of answered. They want more style inspiration. They wanted more workout content, for example.
Okay.
So I guess you just have to listen, I guess, and take action on that.
Do you what's your take on, like, say, online versus physical stores, like e-commerce first?
We always been we're still very heavy on e-com, definitely, but the physical is really, really important as well. So like finding that combination and making sure they work well together, because usually, you connect with someone offline and then you connect online, or connect online, offline, and like kind of merging those worlds together.
Right.
And for example, having a physical store it's so valuable because people can like touch and feel the products. They can the brand comes more alive in that sense.
Yeah.
And it's a really good like brand reach channel as well.
Do you find like it's important to be in the right place with a physical store? Like, say your place down the mount, is that a good place? Do you guys think? Like,
I think it's a really good place, but if you are more after foot traffic, then maybe it's better to be in Bayfair, for example.
Okay.
So it's really where you want to position yourself as well. Like, I mean, I don't see us as a store in the mall, for example. Like, we're more like a lifestyle brand and want to connect with our community, more in that kind of space.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Do you wholesale? No.
Yes, we do.
Oh, you do? Mm-hmm. What sort of stores do you go into?
Here in New Zealand, we have all the Sterling Sports stores and Style Runner and a couple of more. And then in Australia, we have the iconic David Jones.
Oh, David Jones, wow.
Pure Dash, and a couple of more stores. And that's like for us, retail, like wholesale is more like a brand awareness channel as well, because we're so much online, like having physical stores that retailers have. It's like we reach another kind of audience in a way.
Yeah. Do you, is wholesale very important in terms of your sales?
No, I think it's like a small...
More online?
Yeah, I think it's like 5% or something.
Oh, shit. Wow, really?
Yeah. because we have like from the start we've been very selective
Yeah.
where to be seen.
I like that too because like I've been in that same dilemma. Obviously, we're on a much smaller scale, but around like wholesale and like how you want to be perceived as a brand, and not just going into any store that wants to stock your clothes. Like picking the stores that actually align with who you are and what you want the brand to be perceived as.
Yeah, super important.
Yeah, because I almost feel like I've wanted to not even go towards wholesale, like because I'm wanting to push people towards our brand, if you know what I mean. Yeah. It's a tough thing. Do you do much, like, are you in there involved every single day? Like, are you down at the offices? Are you quite
not
involved
every single day.
Are you quite involved in the like operational side of the business now?
Yes and no. Like operational is dependent on what kind of area. Like for us, the brand is so important. Like how we communicating, how the brand kind of, how you say, the creative feel of the brand is so important. So there, I would say we're still very heavily involved. Yep. But then on the other side, like financials, for example, it's not my area. So trying to play on my strength and on my weaknesses.
Yeah, okay.
And then we have like a team set up with like team leaders as well across the teams. So
like a leader of, say, influencer marketing or something like that.
Exactly.
Is that Amelia or no?
So she's focusing on the New Zealand market.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how
you know Amelia.
Yeah. How big to you is influencer marketing?
So influence marketing as a channel is very important to us. What was the question again?
Is it important to you and
it
why?
It is
how?
because you reach out to so many people. Like it's been a very like powerful channel, I would say.
Yeah.
But lately we've been seeing it's been decreasing as well, and I think it's just starting to get saturated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's the behavior of people spending like less time on social as well. Like you can just see like all the different kind of factors playing a role too.
Have you tried to figure out ways to combat that, or is there ways to create better influencer marketing?
I guess we're always trying to like think outside the box in a way and try different things and not being too reliant on one channel because things change, right? That's what Gary Vee says as well. You need to jump on things and fast on them.
Do you go very hard at all on TikTok?
No, we're actually not that good on TikTok, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. Because up until now, we felt like, Instagram has been working really well. And we know we need to like focus more on TikTok. We need to focus more on Pinterest and YouTube, for example.
What sort of, like, say, marketing-wise, what are your, like, channels that you said, not focusing on one channel, let's say influencer marketing is one. Can you give us some examples of others?
I guess we do a lot of Facebook ads as well. Then, and obviously EDMs like newsletter and things like that. Because it's like what we own in terms of, our channel that no one can, when you're on Facebook or Instagram, they can shut down and then you cannot reach out to anyone.
Have you been through any times in the business where it felt like, I don't know, it's going downhill, or you're in a corner and you didn't know what to do with it?
I guess it has different kind of periods when you have your challenges.
Yeah.
I guess, but it's all about, I guess, having a positive attitude and figure out together what to do in order to overcome the challenges.
Have you struggled mentally at all within the business?
Yes. Of course. I think,
I don't know, because, normal people would, but it seems to me like you just don't get fazed by anything.
Of course I do, but I'm having a really positive mindset. I always see this as a way of growing, evolving, and learning and come out of it. Like, I love this journey because you always need to evolve as a individual on this journey, because every phase of the business require a different kind of mindset.
Yeah.
So, for sure.
Why do you think businesses, say, like, for example, like the clothing industry, apparel industry is very saturated, like so many people try and start clothing brands. why do you think a lot of them end up failing? What do you think the main reason is?
I would say not having enough clear vision of why you're doing it.
Yep.
Like knowing your why will help you through everything. Like honestly, like for me, I can share my why, for example. Like I was, when I was younger, I always felt like an outsider. So I grew up in this really small town in southern Sweden, and my parents, they immigrated from Vietnam, they're Chinese. So I was brought up in a different kind of culture. I looked differently. I kind of, came from a different kind of world. So I was the only Asian girl in class, for example, during school, like early years. And all I wanted was to fit in. All I wanted to be was to look like everyone else. I wish I had like blue eyes and blonde hair, for example, like everyone else had.
Yep.
So I had like this really low confidence. Like I really believed in myself at all. And I was like really shy. I couldn't look anyone in the eyes. And then when you come from a different kind of culture, like I respect my parents so much. They came to a new country, didn't know the language, and they had to build everything from scratch. So for them, like in Sweden, education is free, for example. So they were really like wanted us to be good in school, me and my sisters. And they really kind of push us to become, those high kind of careers like lawyers, doctors, and it's like that's what they like thought it was best for us. But it kind of put a little bit pressure on me because that wasn't my strength. Like I was terrible in school. I like math, physics, chemistry. Yeah. Yeah, that's a hard word. You see, I don't even remember. That was not my strength at all, and all I wanted to do was to like travel the world. I wanted to learn how to surf. I wanted to be creative, and I felt like when you go to school, it feels like you need to be a certain kind of like student. Like you need to fit this box. And when you also like grew up in a small town like I did, it's kind of you had to tap into the society rules. And I just felt like, no, this is not what I want. I know it's something much more out there.
Yep.
So the first chance I got was to move to another town to study high school. It's when you're like 15 in Sweden or something like that.
Yep.
And that's where actually Helen became Helen. I started to read a lot of books. I started to read a lot of blogs. I got inspired. I started to work on myself, my mindset. I started to love myself. And I remember I created this bucket list where I wrote down all my dreams, everything I wanted to do. And I started like one by one, I started to tick them off. And after doing that, I started to feel this happiness. I started to feel so aligned with who I am because I felt like I could truly be myself. I was following my heart and I was following my dream. And I was like staying true to who I was. So now when I'm older and I'm kind of looking back at this part of my life, I just wish it was more like empowerment around me. It was people who told me like, Helen, you can do anything. You can like follow all your dreams. It doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, and what you want. So that's why, like for me, AIMN is so important because I want to share that message. And we're all about dreams. We're all about inclusivity. We're all about empowerment. We're all about gratitude, for example. So that's the reason why I wake up in the morning, and when we're having this kind of challenging periods, like I connect back to my why, because it kind of fuels me.
Can you just keep tally of that time? Because we're snipping that shit. That's going on Instagram.
We've gone for about 35 minutes.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, I guess this is a cut.
That's fine. This is all staying in. This is all good. That was unreal. I kind of got lost there. I was like, holy shit. Do you remember the first conversation that you had with your friend about actually starting it?
Yeah, I think it's like kind of build it up. I remember I was like in Hong Kong. I was there. It was also very spontaneous. I can talk a little bit about that as well. Like my sister, her big dream was to move to Hong Kong and study Mandarin. And my sister, she got born with a muscle disease. So she's like sitting in a electrical wheelchair. So in order to be somewhere, she needs some help and support. So yeah, she like planned like a year in order to stay a year in Hong Kong. And then 2 days before she was supposed to go, she actually fired her 2 personal assistants because she didn't really feel safe to be with them. And at that time I was studying, and I was like, oh fuck, like this is her big dream. She has to go. So I quit my study and I quit my part-time job, and I moved with her to Hong Kong. And at that stage, this is actually a really long story, but I will make it short.
No,
at that stage, I got dumped as well. And somehow I had the 4-hour work week with Tim Ferriss with me, and I started to read that one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, have you read it?
Say it again, sorry.
4-hour work with a week by Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss?
Yeah, Tim Ferriss.
Oh, no, sorry.
No.
And what is it? What's it about?
So it's all about, creating your, like, kind of dream life and not really follow the society rules of what success is, in a way. So it gives a lot of tools, but...
What was it called again, sorry?
4-hour work week.
4-hour work week.
Nice. And yeah, I got so inspired, and I was like, because I felt so failed because I didn't have a uni degree, and I just, fuck it, I don't want anyone to define me who I am based on what kind of grades I have on a piece of paper or what kind of degree I have.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm going to create my own business. I'm going to create my own dream life. I'm going to be my own boss.
Oh, I love that.
So yeah, I started to talk with Tekla about that, and we first was like, oh, we both surf, and she like kite surfing, and I love surfing, and we was like, let's do bikinis, and then we started to, do samples, and we didn't have no experience of production, design, e-com, for example. So I took the train to China because it's like from Hong Kong you can go to southern China. Yeah. And I was like kind of looking for factories, Google like how do you source factories, and like this is how you do. And I went there, and like I know how to speak Cantonese, but I don't know Mandarin, and I definitely don't know how to read Chinese signs. Right. So I was so lost. But luckily, I had some relatives there who could kind of help me out and support me. And I noticed like really early on that people, like factory bosses, didn't really respect women, at least at that stage. This was 8 years ago. And I noticed like, fuck, I cannot negotiate because they don't really... respect me at all. So
that's interesting.
It is. So I brought my relative with me, and I pretended to be his assistant, and then he went in and did negotiation. I know, it's so fucked up.
It was only 8 years ago too. Yeah. That's not that long ago.
It really depends on where you go, and the size of the companies as well. If you go to more international one, obviously they are more aware. But if you go to smaller ones, because in the early days you cannot put the quantities in, you really keep the quantity low. And back then it was also, Alibaba was not as big as it is today. Have you used it before?
Sort of. I was lucky enough, I made a contact through my auntie. She does like designer wear, a designer sort of brand, and her factory, her manufacturer, she just put me in contact with them, and I pretty much just used them and a couple others for different accessories. But are you still with the same manufacturer, or?
No.
So you've obviously scaled up.
Yeah, so a funny story about the first production we had. So it was like those 400 pair of ties, right? Yeah. Our very first. And we sold out without even having the shipment in Sweden. We didn't realize it would take so much days to ship, and then the custom process and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember we were like pushing and rushing everything so fast as well. So ended up we got the delivery home, and every single piece had a hole in them. So somehow they didn't really stitch around the label. So it was like this kind of big of a hole. So what we had to do was to gather our families during a week and remove all the stitches around, and then have a stitching lady restitch again, and then we send them out.
Oh my God.
I know, it was the first big challenge, I would say.
Have you had any more bigger scale manufacture errors?
I would say so, yeah. But that one was big because it was the first one. Yeah. It was like, oh my.
And had you already sold them pre-orders, or?
Yeah.
So they were already sold and they turned up like that?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It was a nightmare, I guess, but we had to do what we had to do, right, in order to solve everything.
I told a story on the last podcast I did, but I made 300 hoodies last winter, and there was a manufacturer error, miscommunication. They ended up coming with huge hoods, put it over your head and it would come down to here. You look like you're on Star Wars or something. It was bad. But I did the same thing. I put a post on the local Mount Maunganui notice board and just made it a funny post and said, so I didn't check my measurements and these hoodies turned up.
So funny.
And people bought them with the hoods. And I was like, what the hell? Like,
that's the thing. Like, people sometimes want things that is a little bit different. And it's all about creating that hype and trend, right?
Yeah, honestly. And like, I mean, I talked to you about the mental side of things because like there's been some times during the last, because we've been 2.5 years now, where I've just been like, certain moments I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get through this. Like, what the hell have I done? Like, that was one of them. I just bought all those hoodies and they were all way too big and I was like, what am I going to do? Some people would have like, you know, kind of just given up or been like, oh no, that's it. Like, but then, you know, there's the people that I guess will carry on or whatever. Is you try and find a way to get out of it.
Yeah.
Or you keep trying to go, okay, well, can't change that now. What can I do to fix it, kind of thing?
Yeah. So what was the main thing you did to get out of it?
So I did that post.
Yeah.
Funny post while I thought of what I'm going to
Yeah.
do. And then someone messaged and said, hey, I just saw your post. I'm a clothing alterer. I can alter these clothes. I went back to my factory and I said, hey, like, obviously this isn't just your fault. I missed the mistake, so it's my fault too. Are you guys happy to cover half of the fixing them up?
Yeah.
And we'll just split the cost of what it costs, and then you can just take it off my next invoice. And they're like, sweet. And so we did that, and we sold the hoodies.
Yeah.
And now we're okay again.
Amazing.
But
but
was,
you had like kind of a mental.
I had a
like,
heart palpitation. I nearly had a heart attack.
Oh.
I was crying in my room, like, what am I going to do?
It's good to release all the emotions, right?
Yeah,
because
well,
sometimes it's all you need to do in order to get that clarity.
Exactly, yeah. Have you had any moments like that?
Yeah, like every day almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I have my tools, like, it is challenging to run a business. It is, like, life is also challenging is a way, but if you have the right tools with you and know how to get through them, it's easy, like breath work, meditation, workout, beach walk, nature.
Yeah.
You get all this around you, and in the end, like, if you can tune into the moment, you don't have any challenges, you don't have any problems. It's just there, and that's where you can put all your focus on and actually take the best decisions and feeling calm in a way.
That's awesome. If you could give a piece of advice to one person trying to aspire to do what you do, what would you say to them?
I would say get to know yourself and identify your why.
Okay. Get to know yourself, identify your why.
Yeah.
Your why is massive, eh? Like,
Yeah, it is. And you need to know yourself by that, or kind of start to, you know, scratch a little bit. And what do I want? Who am I? How do I want to show up in the world? And then from there, because if you're not aligned with what you're doing on a daily basis, things will turn out to shit.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, no, honestly.
That was a weird explanation of that, but it's like, I'm all about living in alignment in who you are, your true self, and like actually listening from within. Like, if you listen to that voice, everything else will just flow.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of business stuff translates across to sport. I come from a sport background. You come from a health fitness background, you know. So I always think I see things in business that I'm like, well, this is so, and it looks different, but it's the same situations as what you face on like a rugby field. And like when obviously this New Zealand is very well known for rugby, like we're best rugby nation pretty much in the world. And so I've come through the rugby scenes, and your why is something that you're taught constantly.
Yeah.
Finding your why, identifying your why, and always keeping that in the back of your mind when things get tough. That's what you refer back to get you through. Yeah. No, that's really interesting. Well, anyway, I better let you go because you got to get to your meeting.
I'm a time optimist sometimes.
But I honestly appreciate you getting on and jumping on and giving us your time. I know you're a busy person, especially running a big business like
Actually,
that.
busy. Can I just say a thing about busy? I don't like being busy.
Really?
Like I think it's a negative word to that in a way.
Okay, what would you call it?
I don't know, like
Active?
flow.
Flow.
Yeah.
State of flow?
Yeah, state of flow.
Okay. I
You
know
need
you're
to be
in your
charge
state of
your
flow.
time. Yeah, I'm in state of flow, and
You're in
I'm
state of-
flowing into the next meeting.
You're in your state of flow, and I got to let you keep flowing into your next one. So, but honestly, thank you for jumping on. Thanks
Thank you
for
for
sharing
having
some of
me.
your time. I learned a lot out of this, and I'm sure everyone else will
Oh,
too.
that
So.
makes me happy.
Was it a bit better than you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, it was like you were very calm and like easy to feel like comfortable with.
Comfortable. That's
Yeah.
good. Awesome. Well, thank you for jumping on. we'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.